Okay, this is the meeting of the Master Plan Implementation Committee, November 30th, 2023. And I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is 7:03 p.m. And we'll take a roll call vote. Start with myself, Debbie Demiria here.
Sam Stivers here.
Will Warren here.
Judith Watson here.
Okay, first item on the agenda, public comment. I actually don't know how to see if there's anybody in the audience.
Oh, there is a little tour at the bottom. If you go to participants,
It's because, oops,
did I do that?
no. So just that
And
it's
then you
us.
can see over here, attendees would be somewhere over there, but that's
No
all. it is.
attendees.
Okay. Okay, so next item is action from previous meetings. Thank you to Judith for keeping track of the actions for us. First action was mine to set up a meeting with through with the assistance of Colleen. This would have been the joint meeting with a planning board, master plan, and select board. I think last time we met, Sam and I gave the update that the planning board wasn't particularly keen to meet going into the budget cycle. The planning board met at the last planning board meeting, met to discuss again, you know, how they could provide input, I would say, into goals and recommendations. And the overwhelming sentiment, I think, was that they preferred to give input into the goal setting exercise in the spring, summer, June, July exercise, rather than right now as we're going into the budget cycle, partly because we're slightly late. Budget cycle's probably already started.
Started, but not finished, certainly.
Yeah. Interesting that they took an action to get more involved, which I'm pleased about, starting with the planning board's own goals to Marnie Houlihan has committed to work with the planning board to create sort of like a little bit of a heat map to see, like, for our own planning board goals, which of course are shared with SHOPC and EDC, which goals we would like to you know, kind of prioritize, I guess, for next year. That'll help to go into the as we go into the goal setting exercise. But she's actually committed to work with us. I did kind of recruit you if you're available, Judith, to take the master plan goals and create sort of a heat map, kind of more like strategic imperatives, which is something that she uses in her work life, and to help to provide a visual really to the planning board as to be able to set some priorities for the spring. We don't set the priorities, so it is input, planning board's input into sorry, it's okay. Planning board's input into the select board's process of goal setting. So
Okay.
the joint meeting will not happen. Yeah.
Which is disappointing. I mean, I guess I had hoped for opportunity to get some input, because the planning board owns the process of.
That's okay.
We got rid of our echo. Nope.
Why is that coming from the-
Still echo. Yep.
I'm on mute.
You, so,
I'll unmute. How's that?
okay. So I guess I've watched the 10/26 planning board meeting and then 11/6 planning board meeting and then the planning board meeting that was on
It's Monday.
Monday. And I guess I'm still a little bit confused about what the issues are and what the ask is from the planning board. So and my observation is that Marnie seems to be the one that's got some form of, I don't know, model or approach for prioritization, but the master plan has already got a prioritization model built into it. It's based on timeline.
Mhm.
So I guess I'm not sure what it is that the planning board is gonna do next with its, because I think you said it, they're gonna work on their own goals. So what is it that they're gonna do and what's that output from that exercise?
So the exercise that they want to go through is to be able to be a little bit more informed of the information that goes into recommendations for the select board. And to be honest, they're not ready right now. So there's a lot of short-term goals. And we're just at the point that we're finding out that some of the goals doesn't look like we're on a path. And with priorities, you may not hit them all. I can tell you just, from my affinity group, there's a lot of work that has to get done between, for example, I've got EDC, SHOP-C, and planning board. Planning board goals, a lot of them are SHOP-C and EDC. And they're all yeah.
They're completely separate. There's no joint goals in the master plan.
They're housing, so for example, like there's planning board has zoning, but there's a whole group of that are also housing, right? To write
Sure, okay, so.
that
yeah.
kind of.
So they're not, you're not suggesting they're the same
Not
goals,
joint
it's that there
responsibility.
No,
there
no,
are dependencies and enablers for the planning board that will help SHOP-C deliver its goals and EDC deliver its goals.
right, like mixed use development and ADUs by right
Right.
and those sorts of
Mhm.
things. They are planning board goals, land use. But the stakeholders are really others, could be SHOP-C or EDC
Mhm.
in that example. So what I believe the planning board was hoping to find out was where, first of all, more information from the boards and committees. And what their priorities are. So,
But that's not really what we're asking. We're asking the planning board what the planning board's priorities are.
right,
So the planning board doesn't know or have any easy mechanism for figuring out what all the other committees' priorities are. I mean, it's interesting certainly, but that's gonna take forever for them to figure that out.
well, I hope not.
So, no,
Well, for 200 goals, I think it will. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I think Sam, I'm thinking on the same track, is that there's the planning board goal prioritization.
Yes, which
Right.
is a mini exercise
mini
that
exercise.
Marnie wants to
But
try
then
before the larger
what
one.
I also heard you say was that the planning board wants to have input into the goal setting for the select board for next year.
Well, they prefer to have input into that rather than the budget, from what I understand.
Right, but but that was the whole essence of what the document, and we shouldn't call it Sam's document, because it's not Sam's document.
it's the select board's document.
Well, there's two documents. The document, you took a
Others.
document to the select board that we actually agreed here. On June the 8th, we agreed the 4-theme document.
Yeah.
That you then took to the select board And my understanding is the select board said, yeah, you know, schools, connectivity across the town,
Housing.
affordable diverse housing and getting more revenue through the tax base feel like good priorities will include those, not the schools, but will include the relevant topics within our overall goals and
They are
objectives,
part of the select board's goals, too.
which the select board goals are much more holistic than just those. It's not just,
But those four didn't come from the master plan.
they
Those-
did. They were themes, Debbie, within the master plan.
Well, there's a lot more themes, like, so the planning board's not ready to say, these are our four themes.
But
For
that-
example, resiliency and other things might
Right.
be
Not
planning, board.
suggesting they should,
Right,
we're giving them a chance to say,
that's right.
add to anything here, disagree if you choose.
Yeah, but those four aren't coming from the master plan. Those were Sam's, that
No,
was Sam's.
No, no,
suggestion.
no, Debbie, they were core
There were overlaps
themes
between the master.
and
plan the select board.
objectives.
Yeah,
There were,
But they're
there
only
were,
a subset.
There were-
Complete
they-
set, yeah.
but they were
I have it.
full, we went through this exercise in June.
Yeah.
This, and we said, if you look at the whole master plan, and you can either look at it through, it's actually the objectives in the master plan, what you actually have, which is 10 key objectives to drive to the vision, and the goals and the recommendations come off that. And what that June 8th document said was, well, there's 4 that we think are particularly important to delivering on the vision of the town. Not at the expense of anything else, but those are the ones that's likely to need collaboration. Yeah,
This was
likely
Sam's.
to need, no, that is, we created that.
No, Sam created them.
Sam
Or you may have
created-
helped him for
Sam
his,
created it
right.
from 2 documents that we discussed at the June 8th meeting. This is it. I
Yes,
regard
but
this as
that's-
an implementation committee document. The fact that Sam took it to the select board is, I could have taken
I
it
mean,
to
my
the
belief is that
Recreation
what
Committee.
Sam may be asking is for planning board to do this exercise, because this represents Sam's idea, and he admitted, I'm taking this idea to the select board because those are the ones he wanted as a select board member, and saying, I want to hear from the,
Not
No.
because I would. That's an extraction from the select board goals.
from
the
this,
entire select board,
correct.
Not mine.
So,
personally.
so the planning board is now, it took some time for them to understand, but hasn't done an exercise like that. Interestingly, others have, after speaking to the EDC coordinator, she has done something very similar for her board.
See that?
So, I think first that the planning board was confused, and it's, my bad, because I probably confused them. And they were not ready to create something like that until they had more information. And that information, is something that Marnie is gonna try to organize so that it makes some sense to be able to get to something like this.
But that's what I'm
But this
guess
is,
I'm really struggling here with, we said in June, gosh, 10 objectives, 39 goals, 201 recommendations. It's an awful lot of stuff.
yeah,
And we could, as a town, say, well, every board and commission has its own set of recommendations, and they've already defined the estimated timeline, which is in effect a fairly simple prioritization on the basis that there was no funding analysis done at a granular level.
Right.
We can either wait for those boards and commissions to work through and come up with their own things that they're working on for 2024, or we can suggest, based on the core objectives and the themes within the master plan, where it might be appropriate to focus people's attention.
we can't suggest, that's not our role at master plan implementation.
We created the
This is
document.
Sam's for select board. The master plan never agreed that these are the goals that we would like to see select board
They're not,
adopt and possibly fund.
these are not select board, goals. These are themes.
Right. I
These are
mean,
themes around core objectives then the select. This went to the select board and the select board said, yeah,
Yeah.
these look like good things, so we're gonna put them in the select board. goals.
And they
Yeah.
are consistent with the select board goals.
yeah, absolutely.
Because the select board goals, you use that. It wasn't that the select board goals then generated.
No,
that.
no, no, but these are based, Sam came up with this draft and definitely brought it to that meeting where we looked at it. And then there was an action afterwards that were boiled down to 4 bullets or something like that. And clearly this is well thought out. He brought it into the meeting, speaking for you. And I'm sure that the select board said, yes, we agree with some of these. And that's the exercise that I think Sam is proposing that we do on the planning board. In other words, planning board owns the master plan. What does the planning board think?
Yeah.
And that's an exercise that they haven't done yet. And Marnie is looking to help with that exercise
Because
for
I
them.
was suggesting that it would be helpful to have a conversation about that before everybody goes off and does a lot of work. It's good to make sure we're all headed the same direction.
Yeah, I hear you. I did talk to Marnie at the meeting this week, and I think she's hoping to have something produced so that, we can have a dialogue, in
But-
short order.
But it sounded like you were saying a dialogue for next year's exercise.
Well, next year's would be to inform the goal-setting exercise that starts in the June-July timeframe.
But-
In fact, they
But
don't
who's goal setting
Select.
exercise?
select board.
Right, but every board and commission has got its own recommendations and its own goals.
Right.
and In the absence of anything coming from a kind of a,
Turn my back on this.
from the planning board, if you like, because the planning board owns the master plan, not the select board.
Right, but the select board's gonna choose the goals that they're gonna focus on, that the select board will focus on
But
for the year,
every board
and are
and
likely to get
But
funded.
every board and commission should be focusing on the recommendations and goals that they choose to focus on each year.
That is,
So
that's
unless
correct.
the planning board wants to take a similar approach and say, well, actually, across the 39 goals and the 201 recommendations, we as the planning board, and we own the master plan, we want everybody focusing on open space and sustainability and zoning.
Right.
And if they choose to do that, then that would be that's a model. You could say it's disseminated out to each of the boards and commissions, and the select board would, unless they can come up with a compelling argument to do something else, would have to say, okay, planning board, that's what you want us to do, we'll do that.
No, but it's collaborative. They're not gonna do that because there's other inputs and they have other,
But I think
Things that
that's the
pop up.
point that Simon's making. Why are we waiting till next year for the planning board to say, actually, we think housing diversity is really important, connectivity is really important. We're not that bothered about the tax base, schools, absolutely.
Because these-
Why are they not?
so this is a boiled down list, right? So if you're asking them what's in the master plan, there's, all these other things as well. Why are they not? Because it hasn't been a priority for them to do that outside of the planning board's own goals and recommendations. But they said that they're open to meeting, but they're just not ready now. I mean, I envision maybe, why not a meeting in like February if we can get through this exercise with Marnie to start the process well before June, kind of thing. But the idea that they could do something to try to hit this budget cycle when there may be some goals and recommendations that aren't even part of the select board's list, they didn't seem compelled to want to do that. And I can tell you, I spoke to each of them individually and they have individual thinking about this.
It is clear they're on a track. And I guess it was not the track I would be on if I'm the planning board member, chair of the planning. But, clearly the planning board can do what it thinks is the right thing to do. I don't think we should slow down. think we should keep moving as best we can in terms of trying to coordinate, facilitate,
Yes,
can to make the most possible things happen. And as folks have suggested, I don't think we are in the position of setting priorities
Yeah.
among ourselves here, but I think we could, by the kind of things that we've talked about, find opportunities for collaboration that maybe individual boards have not seen, that don't have the view of the overall structure that we have. And we can circulate to people and say, by the way, do you realize that this other board is working on this particular focus and it coordinates with what you're doing? So does it make sense for you to sit down and talk about it and work together on this particular project or these projects? So I think we can facilitate that. It just, I think, loses some leverage through the budget process if the planning board is not ready to get involved with this. So, but that's their choice, and I think we keep moving.
I think so. And my message, I heard loud and clear from the chair is that we, they do want to meet at some point. So. Sorry,
As does the select board, so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
yes.
I think there has been a window of opportunity here that I think we're not missing.
Mm.
We can't really do much about that. So we've done, stick with it.
I will tell you, when speaking to the EDC coordinator, she, I think this copy might even be hers. And she, I think we're at the point in the cycle where many of the boards and committees are realizing there's overlap and they have to start collaborating. I mean, certainly planning board knows that. In speaking to EDC coordinator, she has come up with something for her, for EDC that is she's trying to get them to focus on what their priorities are going to be for the next year. She has her own and she laid them out and she's trying to get agreement. I think they met last.
Yeah, I attended that meeting,
Oh, good. Did you see her handout?
talked about it.
Oh, good. So I thought that was very good. And she and I have spoken also, a lot of for example, a lot of EDC goals, overlap, with, as I mentioned, if it's duplexes or ADUs or mixed use development. And they're trying to focus, where is that going to be? Is it Route 9? Is it the Villages? Is it Corderville? And I think that's very good. That's a great exercise. And I think that planning board is probably going to do it in a different kind of a way, but that's, they're on a good track.
There's very a lot of, on the other hand, they're tight on resources and staffing. Vacancies.
Oh, yeah.
They're struggling with how to find arms and legs to do all this stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so there's not going to be a joint meeting right now, but stay tuned. So we'll see how that goes on planning board, and when they're ready to meet, I'll find that opportunity and take that back up. All right. So
Sorry, can I just have one? point
yes,
of clarification? So the planning board still views the charge of the master plan implementation committee to simply meet with individual boards and committees and encourage them to be working on their recommendations and
Track progress.
tracking progress. There's no suggestion that the planning board is looking for us to play a more active role in facilitating the collaboration and the cross team activity and the funding reviews. Because I did hear I think I heard in one of the, and it might have been back in October and things moved on since then. I did hear some suggestion that, well, I think it was from Marnie, that she was looking for more of a kind of strategic financial plan to overlay onto the master plan, which is right now is not in anyone's charge. So are we still sticking with the same charge that we have?
yeah, that's my understanding.
Okay.
I think individually, we have our challenges in knowing that, some of our boards and committees within our affinity groups, really should be collaborating across, right? I can only speak for mine, but I know, so for example, EDC, has some goals that they think they may be accomplished through MBTA communities if it passes. And that, let's, for example, that would mean that they need to give us, planning board some input on MBTA communities, because that's a process that's moving forward, hopefully, trying with the mapping exercises, and we will be bringing something to town meeting. And yet that's also housing opportunity, and there should be dialogue with SHOPC. So it is very hard, I think, for us in MPIC to say, okay, you guys really need to be working together. And I think that's what I'm realizing now is this master plan was put together, so it fosters collaboration. I think at least my groups are starting to recognize that.
I mean, and that was the intent behind creating these affinity groups, was that they were kind of loose connections between boards and commission, or parts
Sure.
of the master plan that definitely have interdependencies and interactions and synergies. That's why on Will's kind of little portfolio, it's finance stuff, it's, technology and finance and public works planning board, whatever happens to that. And the same on CAT is that it's, that's the outdoor focus, the OSPC and the trails and the golf course committee, because we know, and conservation commission, because we know that's where those interconnections are.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I guess stay tuned. We'll bring that one back again. All right, so the next action, also mine, to notify the town clerk of the committee changes. I did do that. I don't think the changes have been made yet, but I spoke to Amy Berry this week, and she was gonna make those changes. So
They
that
have
has,
been made.
yeah,
have
so that's
been
just
made.
putting the name up on the chair, and then the boards and committees, to get the roles correct.
Yeah, it's
For
those
that.
changes to be made.
Yep, yeah, so that action is complete. Okay, so then, complete when it gets posted. The next is develop a process or template for tracking implementation progress at the individual recommendation level. I'd forgotten about this one, actually.
So that's Kat and I, and we were hoping to do it next week, and I can't do it next week now because I'm not here, but Kat and I just need to find a date. And we will bring that one back.
And is that for the report to the planning board or anything like that? This goal, this action?
So I think what we were talking about was, once you start to get into really looking at what's moving forward and what isn't, you have to some extent, get down to the really granular level of recommendations. So although the progress reports are a very useful tool to tell us overall activity and focus, you really have to be able to capture what's happening at an individual level to see whether or not that progress is happening. So, and we also talked about the fact that then once you get to that level of granularity, you can start to do the dashboarding that we talked about, red, amber, green, or whatever you want to call it. So it's entirely up to the planning board whether or not they want to see anything at that level of granularity. But I would probably have thought no, because otherwise they'll end up doing the weeds. They'll be kind of double dipping into what we're doing in the master plan. Yeah.
But I also think that kind of reporting is useful to the public.
Oh,
Because, for example, I looked at the select board goals, I think they're like 36 or something like that. And very high level subjective review says that we've made progress to some degree on between 25 and 30 of those. And some is, basically very little progress, some is more progress. But when you talk about granularity, for example, I was thinking about the sidewalk network thing. And there is progress there in the sense that we've allocated close to $700,000 worth of ARPA money for sidewalk construction. we've allocated, I think it's 50 grand for sidewalk repair projects. Capital Improvement Planning Committee is looking at a sidewalk construction prioritization process. We contracted with our pavement management folks to do an evaluation of sidewalks in town that they're now working on. So that report should come out in the spring sometime. And so, again, all those kind of things, I think I was pretty granular as far as actual action steps. So is that the kind of detail that you're looking for, you think?
Potentially, yeah,
Or-
because otherwise you don't know what it
Yeah.
is where the progress is being made. And I think that was one of the things we talked about when we looked at the 2008 plan.
But I
It's
think
like,
for me, that's the kind of thing that I would be interested in as a resident. And give me a sense of what's going on. I don't think we're at the point where we've got the plan for this particular sidewalk is the number one priority, for example, and this one we're not gonna do for another 5 years or whatever, that will all come. But I think we're on the way to being able to do that in a reasonably analytical, thoughtful way. And there are some themes that have developed, like, for example, focus on sidewalks around schools. It seems to be a pretty high priority item. So I think there is a lot of information about some of these things that we can communicate, but you're not gonna get a 10-page report. But a paragraph or two summary kind of thing that gives people a feel for current activities and the fact that some progress is being made in a variety of these areas. In some places you look at and say, it's not on the radar now, not clear when it's going to happen, but that's useful information as well for people. So that's sort of where I'm headed with the reports.
Yeah.
At this point.
and potentially, and we're kind of second guessing what Kat and I are gonna talk about, but potentially it's some sort of document that lists, that shows everything as visually as possible around the goals and objectives, around the goals and recommendations. It then allows you to link through to other mini documents that
Yeah.
you say, well, here's a couple of paragraphs on the sidewalk.
And here's a sidewalk plan. We did a sidewalk study in 2015 and it was updated in 2020 to some degree, and the capital committee is going to further update that and put that
Yeah,
context
yeah,
out there. I
yeah.
think is useful. Nobody's going to read it probably, but at least it's
But
there.
at least
Somebody-
it's there and that becomes the audit trail.
Oh,
And
that's right.
that,
Yeah.
for some boards and commissions and some recommendations, that isn't gonna be something that you would go to that amount of detail. I mean, I'm thinking about the historical commission, it is the one I've just updated. They have 7 recommendations, 5 of which are short-term, but they're, if you remember, we referred to them as short-term ongoing.
Yeah.
So it's like, you've gotta demonstrate that you are embracing this,
Yeah.
this recommendation,
They're doing it.
then
Right.
becomes ongoing. And it's, it'll be captured in the historical commission minutes or in their own
Yeah.
tracking document that they're now talking about having. So you wouldn't, that's not gonna be a 2-page, a
That's
2-paragraph thing, because it's out there and it's happening.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some of these bigger projects around the connectivity, the sidewalks, the MBTA. Kind of zoning, stuff on open space, maybe where these are big projects. I mean, these are projects that if you pull them out, they're the projects that you want to say, well, are these the ones that are actually being funded?
Mhm.
Because the historical commission, just sticking with that theme, isn't going out there and saying, well, actually, we need another $20,000 to do all of these things. They're working within their own budget, not always happily about it, but they're doing that. But there's other bigger projects where it's going to be, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
We need to spend some money here.
And communicating all of this in one structure, I think will be very helpful for a lot of people. One other thing that I've discovered as I've gone through my list here is, I think the facilities stuff, which is on my list, actually, a number of those projects belong elsewhere. With facilities having 8 areas, and like 5 of them dealt with recycling kinds of things. And facilities organizationally is focused on building and grounds kind of stuff. And so recycling, I think, is a lot bigger than John Parent, for example, is responsible for here. And my original thought on that was that is probably something the Public Works Planning Board could drive,
Mhm.
given that that's now headed for the exit. And hopefully we'll get a Public Works Advisory Committee out of this process. And in lieu of that, it seems to me DPW is a useful place to park that stuff because they actually operationally are responsible for that. And they are the ones who do the contracts with haulers for recyclables, et cetera. So they've got the data for these kind of things as well. And I haven't spoken with the new superintendent about that, but I would think that they might be interested in supporting those kind of things because that's something he's looking at in terms of transfer station operations.
So it's with facilities right now?
It's with facilities. that's
Yeah,
right.
there's probably
And
put there.
Facilities has a couple for things like electric vehicle charging stations and getting off of fuel oil.
Yeah.
So for some period of time. So, but I think that as we go along, as we find those kind of things, we have a surfacing and talk about potential rebalancing.
Yeah, have others have others had that comment before? Also that, gee, this one really doesn't belong in my group anymore, or this one's. No, okay.
Everything's perfectly allocated.
How about you, Will?
Hopefully they're pretty well allocated to start with.
Can you hear us well enough, Will? Okay. Have you had that come up, that what Sam has been talking about, that there might be some goals or recommendations that are maybe misplaced or with the wrong committee?
No, but my committees have very, very well-defined areas of expertise. So technology is technology and the budget people are the budget people. So, they're seem to be okay with what they've been given.
Yeah, I think that we anticipated that would happen,
Yeah.
actually, that there might be some, a
You,
few that they think that this is no longer a goal. How do you
Yeah.
dispose of a goal? Or a recommendation? How do you move them around? And I think we haven't done that exercise yet, but
and I can't recall specifically why we put those things in facilities, but there may have been some uncertainty about public works
I
planning
think
for
so.
the future. At that time, that was a natural place, but you don't want to put something in place for them. At least that group wasn't doing much at that point. We were allocating those things, so we didn't even park them at that end.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, minor fine tuning kind of things.
Yeah.
And I think some things are happening in that area. Slowly.
So my thought is that that specific little bundle and anything else that is coming out of these full reviews is what should really become probably a key element of the December report to the planning board. Because if we're gonna make those sort of, if we're gonna have those sort of conversations, and they have to be had with, facilities, sounds like
Yeah,
you're having,
yeah.
but they also, if facilities is throwing it over the wall, someone needs to be on the other side to catch it,
Yeah.
otherwise it'll just disappear.
Yeah.
But those are the things I think, if we can realign anything we need to do there, and then if the planning board is looking to do this exercise in, let's call it winter 2024, as an prepare for for a prioritization exercise starting next spring, then that will be a good input into that process.
Yeah.
And the other thing that just springs to mind there, and I think they're both select board recommendations, was there were 3 new boards that we
Right.
were recommended to be
Yeah,
setting up: the
recycling,
community center.
Trails or hiking, rather, biking.
Yes,
Biking.
it was pedestrian and biking
Yeah.
and sustainability.
And
And like
community center, yeah,
the community center set up, yeah,
that is running now, yeah.
but sustainability
That
and
one, yeah, too.
pedestrian and
Yeah,
biking is,
yeah.
so again,
That's gonna be an uphill struggle because one of our goals was to reduce the number of communities in town.
okay,
So we have to have. some
Solid
conversation
waste,
in
getting
terms-
rid of one.
fine.
Yeah.
But that, I think, is a really good conversation to be having. To kind of start to bubble that up to the
Yep.
planning board, because that as sponsors of the owners of the master plan, they should be the ones that
They
are
should be
saying,
pressing on us to do those. If
Yeah,
there's resistance on the select board, let's have
it
that
should be-
conversation.
then we have that conversation. And maybe that's a, you know, an approach we take for the next 3 to 6 months is rather than saying, let's try and do this really in-depth, end-to-end, you know, review and prioritization. Let's take certain aspects of the master plan and have joint collaborative conversations around those aspects.
If there are places that seem to be somehow less connected than they might
Yeah.
be, let's focus on a few
Yeah.
of those and see if we can improve the consistency.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Because it's a, you know, if the, and I appreciate what Marnie's doing and I don't know what her process is, but, you know, it's a major undertaking to review that master plan again, if that's what the planning board intends, to do. Because there's so much content in it that, you know, we're reasonably familiar with, but
And I still have to go back in and look at the big things out.
Yeah.
Full plan of my head. So,
Yeah, and you can also appreciate that, you know, I think there's still, I think there are, in terms of socializing the master plan, I think there's still more work to do, because I think there's, board and committee members that are not really familiar with parts outside of their own goals.
And I hate to be,
And I'm being nice, I
yeah,
think,
yeah,
yeah,
I'll be a little less nice in the sense that I believe that it's fair to say that there are relatively few committee members, pick a committee, who actually know what their particular goals are for the committee. And there are almost zero residents who have any idea
Yeah.
about what's going on with master plan. Which
Yeah.
is, you know, disappointing in some ways, but we really haven't pushed that too hard, but there'd be
but
very
I
eager to
think,
find opportunities to somehow socialize.
Yeah.
More broadly.
I think residents are much more, my emphasis being much more likely to be interested in specific tangible outcomes.
Yeah.
They want to know that the priority is sidewalks along school areas and it's going to cost $100,000. Yes, they want to know that there's a recommendation around sidewalks, but they want to know what's in it for me.
I like it. And Mark's newsletter, the town administrator's newsletter, that's supposed to publicize, that could be one way that we start to get some of that information out.
Communicate.
Now, the only question is who's actually subscribed to that newsletter, because I know the town lost the entire distribution list when they did the website
Yeah.
over.
They're gonna
So-
start doing it, the senior center, for example, distribution list and some other places, they're struggling to find ways to broaden the impact. But that's one way. And the other thing that I think that is useful, there are actually some things that have been checked off the list.
Yeah.
As I look through the list.
yes,
And so I think some sort of a or public report to say, here are things that were out of the master plan, and here are things that actually have been completed.
oh, that's a very good idea,
And then maybe some near-term things that we expect to complete within the next,
Maybe
Right.
we should have our own news
yes.
twice a year that come out of it.
Yeah.
Like something.
how are you at
but-
doing that?
But like the suggestions I'd made for the website, I
Yes.
think I watched the October planning board meeting and it was apparent to me that we haven't, the webpage isn't set up yet to share the reports, share the progress and get that out. And so I think that can be our next focus, is to make sure that, and what you and I are meeting on is really coming up with a quick snapshot so that people can go to the page. We can push them to that one source of truth and they can see what they need to see, and we can highlight and, the town news and announcements. I mean, wouldn't it be fun to not make it a big lift, but to say, oh, guess what? Another master plan goal or a recommendation was accomplished.
Yeah.
And we do that enough, and then you get like alert. Look at all this happening, and you make it exciting and tangible pieces, like bite-sized, digestible. And we celebrate it.
Yep.
Make it very positive. But I think we have some work to do.
Right.
But making it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
Because it is so big and overwhelming.
And that might be, I think the interesting the opportunity there is how do we time that in such a way that it aligns with the reporting schedule.
In line
Because
with
if that it aligns with the reporting schedule, because the original idea of having quarterly reports to the planning board was that we would have every 3 months we'd be able to push something out and say, hey, look, this is what's been achieved. Now we're only doing it twice a year. It becomes a bit more of a,
But-
maybe it doesn't have to go to the, maybe this piece
Yeah.
doesn't have to go to the.
Independence.
Do our, when we do our quarterlies, we just say, this is what we're gonna do
Or
this for.
whenever something important happens.
Yeah.
Hey, we've, accomplished this now, or this committee has accomplished this.
Yeah.
And as you're suggesting, I think that they have some sort of an alert that says, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Master plan goal achieved,
Mhm.
900 to go.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And it may not be exciting, so I think we should probably focus on using the town website.
Yeah.
All alert versus
Yeah.
a master plan.
Yeah.
and-
yeah,
because
no
maybe
one's
this
gonna
is
look at
what's
the
gonna-
master plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but, yeah.
And I think we actually have enough things that have already been accomplished.
Yep.
To sort of feed that process for a while here.
Yeah.
And at some point, you run out of runway because there's many of these things are gonna take a long time to do.
Do you mean, recommendations that are accomplished, since the master plan was published?
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
Really?
well, we had 10 that were complete before we even.
yeah.
Before we
Yeah.
published
I don't,
them.
I don't feel ashamed with counting them.
Because what we're
Yeah.
doing when we're doing that is we're bringing attention to the
Yeah.
work of every board, committee and commission
Yeah.
that has done something in
Yeah.
this town. And it gives them it gives them kudos, but it also helps inform people on what's going on. And I think that might be really.
And again, I am always stunned at how little residents in general know about town government. I mean, there are, a few hundred people in town who sort of follow this. But,
I still don't know what the answer is to get more involved. They're only, they come to town meeting or a group will come to town meeting and we hear it every year. They're like, oh, I didn't know. And oh, you haven't done a good enough job to help me get to know. And I don't know what the answer is to
Yeah.
reach the people. They're
Yeah.
not interested until they are,
you
until
can't
there's
force
a
them
reason to be,
to prepare.
right?
And I mean, I spend time on Saturdays at the transfer station talking to people. And I'm stunned at how many people ask me, what is the select board?
Still?
So,
Well,
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
not the same people, is
I
it?
can admit, until 2017, that I wasn't really focused on what was going on in town.
Yeah.
at all.
Neither was I, until I joined the Conservation Commission, I had no idea. what was
Exactly,
going on.
and
But I think that's where we have to, if we can think through around some kind of core perspectives around what's in it for me. That's what everyone's interested in.
Yeah.
And also, how is this affecting the place where I live? So maybe that's the thing to do, is to go back to the vision statement, which was, how will you know if the master plan's been implemented? Or sorry, how will we know if the vision for Southborough in 2030 has been implemented? Well, and we had I think 8 to 10 things that, well, this will have changed, this will be different. Maybe we had, rather than keeping it very kind of logical around the master plan goals and recommendations, maybe we try and build that communication around the vision statement and say, this is what you're going to see that's different, that contributes to that vision. I mean, you can still bring it back into the goals and objectives. Yeah, the one that I'm just thinking about when you're saying about the transfer station is, I had no idea what was happening with St. Mark's. I mean, I kept on hearing
St.
about
Mark's Park, the
the
street.
pocket park and, I kept on saying to Ryan in the library, what the hell are those boulders out there, Ryan?
I would have been much happier if very few people knew about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I heard a
Really
bit
was.
about because I was talking to Kevin Miller about
Yeah.
the historical commission, so, that was my focus. But suddenly I drive down that way, because,
The excavator's working.
and there's big buildings have gone. Like, where the hell did that go?
Yeah,
That's-
Which buildings?
big building.
The fire station, the old fire,
Public public safety.
Yeah.
Oh.
Public safety.
the old public,
Yeah,
it's just disappeared.
gone. They
Where the hell did that go?
bulldozed.
But that
Yeah.
to me that was that's changed my visual of the town that I live in.
Well, and
And now someone's putting a big house there.
no, not actually, not quite. That's interesting because what's gonna happen there, St. Mark's is gonna put a little B and B in there. For St. Mark's visitors, parents and so
Yeah.
forth, because there's no place to stay with a restaurant apparently.
Nice.
And
With-
so
with a
that's the
restaurant?
plan,
That's open to everybody.
everybody, yeah, basically.
I'm sure we can link that into a master
And-
plan
and so
recommendation.
That's,
somewhere.
that, again, premature at this point, not built yet, but that's what they've said they want to develop there. And so I think that'd be a wonderful addition to downtown. That's something that is again, I think, of great interest to many people, at least particularly downtown. And so you don't want to advertise too
Link
hard
to,
before it actually
no,
happens.
yeah.
But,
But that's perfectly linked to one of our visions of a vibrant, whatever it is,
Downtown,
downtown.
Exactly. So, but the other one, I think, circling back, I think, Judith, that, we've been through the cat are talking about here is something that is of interest to many people. Sidewalks for me is one that always seems to resonate very widely across town. And so maybe if we can find, 2 or 3 themes like that, that come out of the master plan to more actively communicate around. That's another way, I think, of involving people, because there is some chance that will work in their neighborhoods.
How do we get people to sign up for town alerts?
For town what?
Alerts.
There is a sign-up system now, but it doesn't really get all that actively used.
Well, you have to actively seek it out. So
Yeah.
my question is like, how do we reach?
The town clerk asks for email information when people interact there. But I'm not sure how widely we can use that. Because
Well,
people don't
I'm
get
thinking,
spam.
what documentation goes to every resident and the property tax bill?
Property tax bills,
So is there something we could put in, like it would be a one-time mailer?
Sure.
Like, I think the town needs to be very proactive at
Yeah.
trying to get everyone.
well, we could do several things. One, there are stuffers that go in the property tax bills sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, occasionally. But the other thing that's been very effective is the postcards. And you may have seen the green postcard about the energy aggregation thing. That costs about $1,000, which is
For the town, for the
for
entire
whole
town?
town, for every mailbox. Postal Service has a, get what they call it.
Every door
something
direct
like
or
that,
something, right?
yeah, Service, and
Yeah.
they will help you do that. Postmaster is very friendly, help them and stuff. But, so that, I think was like 800 for postage and a few hundred for the actual cards themselves. But again, very inexpensive. We did that, their public safety, DPW did a mailer about water rates or
Mhm.
something like that. You don't want to overload it, but that's another interesting way to communicate to people. We're thinking about doing that for the transfer station. To get people to sign up, because the more people who use transfer station, the better the economics, because it's a pretty fixed cost deal. A lot of new residents come in from other towns that don't have a transfer station and think that you've got to sign up for a private hauler. And so if you let people know that, A, there are a lot of things that are attractive about the transfer station. And B,
You're funny.
well, come on. It's a social scene. I can't tell you how many times I see people pull up
I know you just can't stay away.
and
so-
say, hey, Charlie, I haven't seen you in 6 months. What's going on with the family? Let's stand there and chat for 15 minutes. It really is an interesting.
I
social-
learned that right away.
And the swap shop, same kind of thing. But again, if people don't know it's an option, then they say they pick up and call the hauler and pay $600 a year for it, which you get for $275. So, but anyway, communicating those kind of things through the postcards, I think is an option that is out there. And if there's a particular message that we want to do.
I think we should talk into the clerk's office and see if there's some coordinated effort to like reach out to the entire town with some postcard that's not. I'm just worried it's gonna get lost in the shuffle, like
Yeah.
everything that comes to my house, if it doesn't
Yeah.
draw my attention, it has to be something that really draws attention and.
Attention around an issue. I don't think it can be sort of general stuff.
Well, maybe the issue could be the eye-catching thing, but the point is we want them to sign up for alerts to stay aware of stuff, right? Like, not just focused on one issue,
Yeah.
but this is the issue, and if you want to learn more about this and other things, this is how you do it.
And that might be worth the postcard to say, if there's an alert, townwide alert system to
Yeah.
actually encourage people to go to this web link
Yeah.
and enter your email address, and then and maybe give you a choice. I don't know how the current one works. so
Well,
the
the current
choice is-
one is tricky because you have to log in, you have to set up a user ID password, it's much more. There's more effort.
Can you select topics that you want to be notified
You
about?
select either the committees and commissions, I don't know if it's by topic, I think it's by,
The topics would be a useful choice as well in that structure. Say, I want to know about sidewalks.
that's actually interesting.
Tell me about paving projects.
People don't really know what committees and
Yeah.
commissions deal with what issues,
Yeah,
so if it's based on topic, they know topics.
yeah.
That's smart.
Hmm.
There's also a local letter that goes to every resident that moves here, and we should make sure that,
Who sends that?
Town clerk.
is it the clerk?
Oh, yeah, and actually, I think Melissa Danza sends
I
something
was
from
thinking Melissa
conservation.
too,
Yeah,
because we
she
were
does.
working with her on stewardship to make sure it had some information about open space and trails and da.
Yeah.
So anyway, we digress, but I will
I know.
definitely.
These are good thoughts.
Follow up on that.
Maybe we can put this back on the agenda for the new year also. I mean, unless we want to try to highlight end of the year. I mean, it's end of the year, but
I think the holidays might wash over.
Yeah.
We should hit it first thing.
But
yeah,
I think we ought to keep talking
Yeah.
about the sort of communication process, the engagement process, or what's happening as part of the master plan implementation stuff. Because I think that's an ongoing topic that should be of interest to many people, and we need to work hard to communicate it in different ways.
yeah, and we're gonna get to Kat's proposals for change on the our website and who's going to our website. But there is a lot of traffic right now on planning board website because of MBTA communities. Colleen and Karina have been amassing emails from the various mapping sessions and forums and have, you know, a couple hundred names, I believe, from the turnout. Now they signed up to get any information on MBTA communities, so we can't use that list to just bombard them, but maybe they're going on the website also to find out, like, you know, we're gonna start posting documents having to do with the mapping and what the board is thinking in terms of the districts, and so I'm sure some people will be going on that website, so maybe we can really, once we get the basics, which is what Kat, you're making suggestions on the basics changes that have to occur on master plan. But maybe there could be something that says what's new with, you know, what goals have been achieved so far or something like that.
I'd like to see a big yellow star that says, click here to see what's going on, so that it draws my attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, shall we?
That might lead you to a place that says what's going on with public works, with sidewalks, with school building,
I think that's a really smart approach to it. It's the topical.
whatever it might be. Because again, with the whole school stuff, a lot of stuff happened. Not a whole lot of people involved in it now, but big impact in terms of tax rate and bonding costs and all that kind of stuff. So, and the list could change over time as well. So,
Yeah.
Sort of what's happening in town kind of thing. And then go from there.
It is hard to find what's
But it
happening.
needs
in town.
somebody to actually manage that and provide ongoing content, curation, et cetera. Which is hard work if you do it right. One other communication opportunity is that we're soliciting input for the town's annual report currently,
So you are,
and
did that notice go out with boards, committees, and commissions to send an update?
I think it does.
Did it?
Yeah,
I didn't get it.
okay, well, that's interesting. I'll inquire about that.
I
Because
will. too.
I've heard that the deadline is approaching
Oh,
for
even
that,
worse.
so,
Melanie used to send us all the committees and commissions, hey, you know, it's time for the
yeah,
updates.
and maybe that's, in the right pipeline here, it will come out. Somebody told me the other day that they had to work on theirs. So I don't know the specific timing, but I would think that it might be interesting to have master plan implementation page.
Oh,
there, talk about what's going
on that note, it is mentioned in our master plan that the MPIC will report,
And
will provide the planning board with a report for the annual town meeting.
Yeah.
And I don't think maybe report isn't the right word, but I think we had once talked about the concept of what is that? Would Mimi get up at annual town meeting, for example, the chair, and give a couple say a few words, or would there be a flyer at town meeting, or would it go in a book or something like that? It'd be nice to go into the annual, you still produce the annual
Yeah, then, of course.
annual report, because people do sit there and read it during town meeting, right? Yeah. That's
I
another
think
one.
we talked a little bit about that in a past meeting, and
Yeah.
we said because of the timing of when the town meeting happened, the annual town meeting, that we would use results of our December report so that because we're not collecting new information
Right.
in Q1.
Yep.
So we can extract from that.
Yes.
But to your point, do we want to do a committee update?
You
in
could do
the-
a half page in there, yeah, I mean.
I think
we
that's-
Probably ought to
Taking out an
make sure the
advert.
planning board is okay with that since we work for them. But, I don't see that they would object to
Why
that.
not? Yeah, so I think
What would that
And
look
maybe part of the planning board's report could be a paragraph in the planning board's report, potentially. I'd rather have that separate.
Well, last year's report. Master plan committee was covered by the planning board.
Yeah.
We didn't have a separate report because we are a subcommittee of the planning board.
yeah, I'm trying to think because trails was under recreation. but
Yeah.
We have our own little section, like,
Yeah,
you know, our little.
so, one way or another, though, getting a paragraph or so. About this plan implementation, I think would be a good idea.
Yeah.
We should leverage that to be able to get people, to click, you know, like the topical features, like you're interested in, you know, these are what we're working on, but if you're interested in these topics, this is where you go.
Yeah.
And like use it as like, I don't want to get too advertising, but like literally include, this is how you get this information, so that it's part of the, it's
Yeah.
just one more avenue to
Yeah.
reach the 200 people that.
That's right. But those people are typically the ones who are
And
more
they're
active.
most active anyway, so
Yeah.
we're reaching to
Yeah.
the same group that already know, but.
Well, master plan, I mean, the MBTA communities is gonna bring out a lot of people that we haven't seen. I think. It should be a pretty. A pretty big town meeting, I would think, especially for folks that, you know, may not have, you know, this is. Right in their community.
So for town meeting, to your point, I think the flyer of one pager should be printed for that.
Yeah, for the table, are
Yeah.
we allowed to just do
Page,
that?
blue paper. Ask Jim.
Jim?
He's in charge of that. No, I
Yes, that's
forget.
in,
We were able to because we had a warrant article, but I think it is restrictive based on. Not what, I'm not sure what the criteria is, but master plan implementation committee might have like, that's a really good reason. It's not like. You're soliciting for anything, you're just trying to inform the residents, but I think Jim would be able to tell you exactly what's allowed and what's not.
yeah. I'll be happy to take that as an action unless somebody wants to, I mean, these are great ideas. We should keep them coming, but I.
But for this, because the annual report is due.
Yeah.
Like, now, you know, at this month.
Yeah.
The updates for the annual
Yeah,
report,
I
right?
think so.
So how do we execute something that would be. Not a big lift, but. Accomplish some of our.
Again, I think that, you know, a paragraph, half page or something like that.
Yep.
Would be more than sufficient. And,
But wouldn't it be nice to include a couple of highlights?
Oh, sure.
That was,
and, you know, goals that have already been accomplished.
Yeah, yeah.
everything. And here's on the calendar for, calendar 24.
Yeah.
We expect that these will make progress, et cetera.
and this is where you go to find out more.
Will, do you have goals that have been accomplished? I mean, can we ask every member to say, okay, go look at your reports before December? And do you have any, I mean,
Yeah.
for planning board, for example, I know that the GIS map is in final stages, which means soon we will have a 2021 map with a downtown district on GIS, because right now it's the 2006 map. I don't know if everybody realized that.
Huh.
So it will be the 2021 map. And then with a, you know, going forward, anytime we change zoning in a district, for example, if there are MBTA communities passes, part of that warrant article will say, and the map needs to be updated and the GIS map online, because we got so far behind. So, for any of us that like maps and go on the map and trying to figure out like, just where is the downtown district? It is really very difficult to find. And I think when you guys were working on the master plan, that was one of my naive comments, like, can't we take this map and like replace it with the current map? And the answer is not so easy, but so that's a goal that's almost done. I don't exactly know when it's gonna be done, but I was excited to learn about that. So how about you, Will? Do you have near
Well,
term?
capital planning had a number of goals that had to do with implementing or involving people in planning processes. And, you know, they said that they had finished pretty much all of those. So those could go on a finish list as well.
Very good. So that's fun because I didn't know that some of the, I mean, I have others that are like struggling.
So maybe that's a kind of a segue into item 3 on full progress reporting and updates. So
Yes.
how's everyone doing with their progress reports?
We're not quite done with 2, are we?
Oh, are we? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no. Well,
My thing with the school committee, schools.
that's separate. December
Yeah,
14th.
December
Yeah.
14th, we've got that scheduled, which is a bit of a challenge. Those guys are extraordinarily busy with all these building projects, so that's trouble getting that scheduled, but now set for a couple of weeks here. And,
Yeah.
let's see what happens. I don't expect that there's going to be a huge amount of overlap there, but I want to suggest to them there are some ways that we can think about coordinating and see what's on their near-term list for things they want to accomplish in calendar 24 and see if we can find some overlaps with the master plan there, and sort of basically make some links wherever we can. But
Yeah.
they've never really been deeply involved in this process. Katura Martin is their representative. She's off that board now. So I think it's worth continuing to try to push overlaps, connections with them to the greatest
Sure,
extent
yeah.
possible, because that's 70% of our budget for starters. So we'll see what happens. I think we'll have a good conversation.
That's great. Good. And the other action is for all of us on challenges. I can tell you my boards are hitting that, and the answer is you have to start collaborating with the other, boards, I think, like Shop C and EDC and planning, we have not met together. They haven't met. Although EDC shares an office with planning. But EDC Shop C have a lot of overlapping housing, especially housing goals. And that I think is going to be the theme. But how about you guys for challenges with your boards?
Just getting people to pay attention to it, basically, because everybody's very busy.
Yeah.
Historical Commission, I had a really great conversation with Kevin Miller. We decided to do it one-on-one, just on a Sunday because he had too much on his next agenda. But he's, they're moving forward on all of their recommendations. They're very involved with other committees, Tricentennial Committee, CPC, working with the town clerk's office on digitalization. So, I mean, they're actually excited of what they're doing. And, Kevin actually said, invited me to go to a future meeting and talk about what can they do to be capturing their own progress so that it makes it easier for me. And I'm like, that would be very nice.
Good idea.
So, Recreation Commission, Jen was very keen to get together and I haven't been able to connect with her, but they have made good progress in the first part of the year. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff that, again, I think we can capture.
Yeah.
Part of the process. So they
Yeah.
don't need stimulation.
Was tricentennial a goal for historical
To be involved in it.
to be
yeah.
involved? Okay, I actually thought that came after the master plan was finalized. Yeah, good. And how about you, Will? Challenges with your boards and committees?
They're busy and it's hard to get time to talk to them. So,
Are they
Same
working
kind of
on
thing.
things, do you think, or they are too busy?
oh yes, they're definitely working on things. The DPW planning, not so sure on that, but as far as the technology and the budgetary, yeah, the capital planning, yes, of course.
Oh, you can't,
Oh, yes.
the
So-
challenges.
Well, I met with all of them except for DPW, which I'll reach out and have a report for, because I think they only had one goal, but I reached out to the conservation, golf course, and open space. And met with each of the chairs, and everyone's making great progress. Challenges, the golf course, they're trying to fund a huge project, so they're just working with Mark Purple, and that is going well. And I think they're moving forward with a CPA application as well, if CPC agrees to move that forward to town meeting. So that's fine. Conservation Commission, they're moving forward with everything pretty good, nothing major, no major red flags. Open space, moving forward with lots of good projects. Their challenges are funding and all sorts of things. I'll have it, I mean, not all sorts of things, I just think that funding is a challenge. And I think bandwidth and just, getting the support they need. I'll have it all documented as far as, just with the number of initiatives they have going on, not having time to go after grants, not having, a dedicated, I think that came up as like a dedicated grant writer to
Yeah.
search for grants for
Yeah.
open space specifically. And, kind of how to solve that, issue and, so that's, and then trails, this will be our first time reporting, our challenges are just, we have a big project we're working on. We have funding, but we ran into a challenge of needing a little bit more funding for engineering services. We just got some good news that we may get some pro bono engineering services. I'm talking with them in the next couple days just to see if that's going to pan out as we expect, so that would be really good. Yeah, so other than that, I think the Trails Committee is moving forward with lots of good things, so I think in general, all is well. And I will plan to have my reports, so I've met with everybody, I just need to write them up. Let them do a quick scan to make sure it's represented as they want it to be represented. So I should have everything finalized to you by next week. And then DPW, I hope that will just be a quick, email exchange. Discussion is needed and know that as well.
Maybe you and Sam can meet with, together and talk about potential new goals for DPW.
He's got his hands full these days.
I know. So in terms of challenges, they do fall into buckets. I have, mainly, I've met with EDC, and, planning and SHOPC. I only have the three. And, the challenges are collaboration and communication because they share the goals and, but from what I'm hearing, oh, and I haven't put it into the report template yet. I have my own individual and I haven't also put, I'm not even sure I know where it is, to be honest,
The template,
the template.
oh, I can send it.
Can you email the link?
The progress
Well,
report.
remember, we had to take it off of Google Forms. out of Google
Yeah,
Docs
I think you
because
sent
Right.
it out
it's-
after the last meeting, didn't you?
Oh, so we're just taking the summary and popping it into the report. Okay, is the report document still?
No.
Well,
well-
actually, you're talking about the report document, I'm talking about the progress.
The
report.
progress
So which one do
report.
you- Which one do you?
The
Um,
report to the planning board
That's different.
pulls out of the individual progress reports.
Right, there's the first question in the progress report is just high level.
Is the summary.
Yeah,
And
and
that
that
goes
then
into
goes
the
to the
Excel report that goes to the
Oh,
planning.
I'll
board.
have to go back in there and see. Not the temp, not the temp,
Okay, not the Word document.
not the Word document.
Okay, that's,
Yes, what is the report called in the Google Drive?
The report of, sorry,
To for the planning board?
it does, well, there's a,
It's been so long, I feel like I have to go in there and look around.
if you go into,
But while you're doing that, I just want to say, it seems that, collaboration with other boards that share similar you know, overlapping recommendations or similar affinities. Funding, which is always of concern. And Kat, you mentioned also, in need of resource
Resources.
coordinator.
To identify fund, you know, grants and things like that.
Yeah. What do we do with that kind of information? So we are identifying challenges that are falling into two, like three, I think those are the big three buckets: resource, funding, collaboration. Collaboration, you,
Grant
can
writer we
facil-
solved too, so.
But there's a grant, that's part of the select board.
Yeah.
roles. This
You had
is-
mentioned that there's a
grant writer.
consultant the town works with, but
Yeah.
that's not really a grant, that's not someone who can just be charged with, hey, go find grants for, right? They're on a per request basis.
Yeah, and we request, we
And that
have
would
to have a
cost us.
conversation with them about topic areas, for example, sidewalks is one we asked. For their grants, help us find some grants for that. And that's, in my experience, not been all that tightly managed by the select board, unfortunately. I think that there's resource there that we really haven't used very effectively.
How would, for example, if open space, that area, the
Yeah.
topic area,
Yeah.
wanted to say, okay, let's see what grants are out there. How would they go about approaching who to ask for the consultant
They should ask the
resources?
select board,
So they would
say,
appear,
can you ask our contract grant finder to find open space grants for these kinds of projects, for example.
okay.
In theory, that would be open to any board or committee.
And I'm assuming, is there like a cap on that? Like, because it's gonna cost money.
Yeah.
So how does the select board
We,
figure out like?
we have,
those
we
things?
have a contract, we have a contract with this outfit. That, I don't know exactly how many hours of time is there, but we had the conversation. With the head of it, she said, you know, I've got capacity to do these kind of things. We asked for a bunch of things, and I've not actually heard any feedback. It's been several months, so I don't know what's going on there, but there's technically at least a resource there who's supposed to.
So I could bring that back to
Yeah.
the committee members
Yeah.
with that, or the, you know, those that I'm.
Yeah.
Working with and say, this is an opportunity, if you would like to pursue
Yeah.
it.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
And so I don't, again, I can't tell you that, you know, they'll spend 40 hours looking for this.
Oh,
stuff.
no, I
But
think,
let's
yeah,
ask
but
and
a
see.
request to say, hey, could you
Yeah.
spend some time or have the consultant spend
Yeah.
some time? And, they could put a dollar cap on it and make it, you know, a few hours worth of research that might.
Yeah.
Help,
start.
you know?
And again, I don't think we've used that resource very heavily.
And even if the ask is, can you find recurring grants? So that,
Yeah.
that 3 hours they spend researching comes up with a list.
Yeah.
And then you provide that to the committee members, so. But I think the secondary ask is, okay, so we have these resources, thank you very much, I don't have time to write the grant, so
Yes.
that's another.
And I don't think we're buying time to actually make the applications.
Right.
On the other hand, these people do this stuff, and so maybe they've got time
I
available.
bet if you put out a call to action in the town of Southborough and ask for volunteers to help write open space grants, you might, or if there's a special interest, you might get someone with spare time.
Yeah.
You never know,
That's
so
right.
that might be, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, but I remember, that person came like end of the year last year, Sam, or so.
I
Are they gonna,
Remember when it was, we had a conversation with her.
it seemed to me, I thought that was a really nice presentation. And it seemed to me a lot of that stuff was, not so tailored. I mean, I don't know if the select board gave her a list. But-
We went down the line.
You went down the line?
I had,
Okay.
half a dozen areas that I was interested in.
Oh, and you were able to give that to her in advance?
Taking notes. And she said, I'll go look around and let you know, but I've not heard it.
Oh, okay.
But everybody had a few items that they asked.
Yeah, that's a really nice resource.
Well, it's a nice resource if it works.
If it works, yeah, she's gotta come back. Come back, and when she comes back, ask about open space.
$50,000 for coming in and listening to you. No guarantees.
Okay, so we started at number 3. I think we can go through the.
Sorry, so
rest of
Debbie,
these
you were
items.
asking about in the,
Oh,
there's a folder in the MPIC drive called progress reporting, which is every board and commission that has recommendations has its own little folder. So the idea was, and I think I sent a note out about this to say, if you put your
Complete
progress,
that rolls off of the-
if you put your progress reports into individual folders, it's really quick for me to pull out the summaries. And then there's two documents, that Debbie, one was the tracker, which is, this,
We're just taking a look online, Will.
that's
Right,
this is the summary, so these are, so for example, this was the,
Do you want to Judith to share the screen, Will, so you can see the report? Are you familiar with the report? I have forgotten about it, so
right.
this is
so
helpful
These are
to
the
me.
individual summaries, so this was, well,
So are we gonna override the 2021? Or, oh, no,
no, there's a separate, once the progress reports come in, I can simply update this with what the second review is. So we wouldn't overwrite it.
Okay.
Because we need the audit trail.
yeah,
So once all of the progress reports have been put into the individual folders, I can take the summary out. And that was the detailed document that went to the planning board.
okay,
And
and,
but then the other document that's really key is that there was, just a short Word document that I wrote for you that was, okay, this is what we've been doing. And I can have another go at that. I can do something similar for you. if you
oh,
want,
yeah, that would be great for the December,
For
yeah,
the December meeting, but I need the progress reports
Okay.
first, because I can't.
yes. I can get you those, like, by the weekend. Mine,
Kat, when do you think you can?
Oh, mine, I can work over the weekend and get them to you, but, well, I need their feedback. I can get you the preliminary reports.
Yeah. Will, do you think you can get them in the next week?
yes,
Mr. Stover?
Try.
and so the folder, of the progress
I
report.
see a master plan chapter challenge coming.
So they just
I'll
get,
help you.
so I'm doing mine offline for the drop-down menus, and then they get uploaded into here for each of our committees?
Yeah, so there's a planning board progress report.
Okay,
That's the one that you put in there from March.
I just can't access my BitLocker or my antivirus is preventing me
Ah.
from going into Google.
yeah, it's just my
Drive, so-
memory. It's like, okay, how did we do this?
Yeah, so this was the, so this is MPIC, right? And at the top is progress reporting,
We have.
and then
folder for
each
everybody.
folder
Yeah.
has, so like there's your one from, yep.
And the Excel, I just wanted to make sure.
Oh,
I
the
was- I just
Excel
wanted-
is actually in, it sits, you have to go down the bottom. It's in the bottom.
Just outside of a
Yeah.
folder. Perfect. Thank you.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just,
I think you sent a note around to us last year, and I'll dig it out as well. But thank you for doing that, Judith.
yeah, I'll update, I'll do the summary, the progress report. So don't worry about, don't try and do the summary report because the document has to be, I have to download it and reload it because the formatting isn't brilliant in Google Sheets.
Okay, so that's, and then do we have a target date that we want to send it? I think their next meeting is the 11th, or the meeting for December is the 11th.
That's not gonna happen.
So, yeah, I don't know when the one after that is. I'm not sure I brought my. I think we have the new schedule.
Yeah, I
But
don't think there's any harm in them getting it early January. right?
No,
They're
it's
not
a
gonna be
December
studying-
report that
yeah.
they'll review in early
That's perfect.
January.
Okay.
Does that work?
yeah, that's
Debbie?
fine. Yeah, I can't remember the date. I'm not sure I have it on my calendar yet, so we just got. But anyway,
Yeah. But I think the other, so I think it's, if we're gonna try and,
no, I don't have my calendar yet. It's crazy. I didn't put them on my calendar.
I think, so it sounds like, as well as the key, I think, is to be able to identify in there the specific challenges
Yep.
that people are facing and what either the advice that's been given or what the next step is for that. So, OSPCs struggling with grant writing, we've had a conversation here and Kat can go back and say, hey, you need to do this, but so that's not us, we're not kind of doing it for them, we're just
Sharing
kind of
resources and
helping.
information.
But I think that feels like that's gonna be really important to pull out from those progress reports to give back to the planning board, and that's what I'm thinking I'd do in the Word document. Because it's the, you know, the Excel, which is the summary of the summary is even that's still too detailed, and my guess is that they didn't read it. Well,
That's the thing.
they can't read it from the minutes because it doesn't, it's not uploaded
That's what we're gonna
properly.
work on. That, right? You said you were gonna talk to the town, about fixing the minutes from the April planning board meeting where the progress reports can't be read.
Oh, yeah, was that one of ours? Oh,
Yeah, it was
that was
first-
a
in the
planning board.
packet.
Yeah, the planning board packet did not have the update from the MPIC. So you couldn't read the update report. So even if someone was interested and they would go to the minutes to, or the.
Okay,
Yeah, they can't read the report. It's just the way it was printed, it didn't print properly.
okay,
So my concern when I watched the October meeting, it became very clear that we haven't yet established a great rhythm of them being informed about what's going on.
yes,
Because there were a lot of questions and a lot of comments that really surprised me.
yes,
Because I'm like, no, we need to compare, no, the progress report, wait, what? No, we've done all that. We've talked about that. We have a process in place for that. But they didn't know about that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, and what prompted me to send you that email was like, let's solve this because it's really simple to do. Like, it's not simple to solve, but it's simple to put these things in actionable steps and make it happen so that then they can say, oh, this is where I go to see the progress report, to see the progress that's happened and to be informed, right?
Yeah.
Because it really was clear that it wasn't quite, and we're new, this is our first year doing this, so that's fine, you know, but we're hearing that we need to put it in the faces of people more, you know, so they can see it and understand that progress is being made, because, and even comments from the audience was, you know, informing.
yes,
Informative in that way.
yes. I think I reached out to you on that, right? I can't remember,
Oh, yeah, about the yeah,
about a potential new goal.
yes, the spotted lamp.
But I'm gonna let you deal with that because that's your committee. Yes, but that's another thing is as we accomplish goals, there may be some other committee boards and committees that want to bring on new goals. I'm not sure, but they might have new priorities that explain why they have to push out their goals, which of course, we're not going to push them out, but
We don't add new goals into the master plan.
we don't add new goals. They,
If
they may have
someone
goals that are not
says-
master plan
If
goals.
someone, yeah, but those are, but that's,
So the exam,
that's for them to work on.
right, so they might need some help. So we did have someone from Open Space come and make a public comment. And I can't exactly remember which meeting it was at, but that
It was the October 16th.
it was at the Spotted Lantern Fly, is that what it's called? And saying, you know, this is now taking up a lot of, you know, resource and time having to do these various different things. And it was apparent that appeared to be a new priority and may mean to that person that, okay, open space, some of the open space goals either may get, you know, short-term goals may not be accomplished because she's got other things on her plate. And that she needs help with this new thing to be able to get to even the master plan goals. So yeah, not creating any new goals, but that for that committee, they've got something new on their plate that they feel like it's more of an urgent priority.
But I think that is the.
Did I say that right? Did I miss
That's
something?
the responsibility and the decision-making authority that was devolved to the boards and committees. So they came up with the estimated timelines and the potential funding sources.
Right,
And what it says in the implementation section of the master plan is these may change over time as boards and commissions start working, doing their research, doing their analysis, doing their
circumstances change.
planning.
Yeah.
there may be things where someone says, you know what, this isn't even, it's not even gonna happen anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's okay, as long as there's a documented and shared explanation of that, so we can take that back to the
Yeah.
planning board.
It would be in the.
Yeah.
And if open space, you know, I'm guessing that open space has a whole set of things that they're doing or that they want to do within which are the master plan goals. I doubt very much they're just working on the master plan.
Right.
So if they, you know, if that's their that's their plan for next year, and up here is master plan, and then there's other things. If they decide that the other things are more important than the master plan, as long as that's documented, if they decide that, well, actually, that's not a short-term priority anymore, that needs to go to medium-term, absolutely their decision to
That's
do
their
that.
business, yeah.
But they have to document it and tell us that.
Well, actually, I thought that if the priority changes or anything changes, if a goal, if the wording changes, or if it turns from short-term to medium, I thought that rises to the level of going to the planning board.
I think the planning
Well,
board
the
gets
planning board-
informed about it, but they're not gonna, I
Planning
mean,
board doesn't have any power in that decision.
unless the planning board wants to
Um,
turn around and say, well, actually, no, you have to do that short term, so.
But the planning board has no authority.
Yeah, I think it's more of an informing.
It's
this
informing.
shift has occurred, and
Okay.
that's what the purpose of the progress reports are, to
Yeah.
let them know how things are going, what's been accomplished, what hasn't been accomplished, some challenges and that.
I mean, you know, if. I mean, maybe that's something where, I mean, that's what I was asking Debbie about. Do you think the planning board is now starting to see a different charge for the implementation committee?
I really don't think
Because-
so.
Because if that, you know, if they're, if that would be a good example, it's like, well, yeah, every time someone makes a change, it has to come back and be approved by the planning board and then communicated out. That's a lot of resource that is gonna be taken.
I think with the knowledge that Sam brought to the planning board by the proposal to have the joint meeting has prompted the planning board to think about things. Good. I think that's a very good start. But also you can imagine that planning board may come a little bit better equipped to speak to the select board about funding or setting goals for potential funding in areas where they didn't know, you know, they wanted at this time. So an example might be, I'm just gonna make things up, but maybe they say it's really important that we have protection of our open space and trees, and we get rid of, you know, these things that are eating the trees and killing, and emerald ash borer and spotted lanternfly, and we really need, you know, that's gonna be our priority. Let's say they name 4 priorities and that's number 1. So I'm just making that up. That could be something that is, you know, they would not have known about that if they didn't realize that maybe open space is busy working on other things and not going to be able to get to their goals. So they might say, well, maybe we ought to help them get to their goals if we can get them some resource. So why don't we share this thought with the select board, and then when funding time comes around, which is now, you know, there might be some help for them in the future. So I think that's what this knowledge exchange has done. In some circuitous way, I think it will be very helpful. Hopefully.
So,
That's the whole, yeah.
yeah, so just count on that point about I think it's the April 24th planning board minutes, which is when our report went, and I don't think the summary report even went.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 entries in I think the Excel file got added twice, but it's unreadable.
So you're
So-
talking about what got put out to the public
Yeah,
What was in the packet?
in the
yeah,
packet?
the minutes
Actually, it's
need-
in the minutes, it's
the
not even in
minutes
the
need to be
packet, it's in
updated because they
it's in
actually
the
are
minutes.
wrong.
So, but here's my thought, Debbie. 'cause
Yes.
That's a lot of work to go back and redo that.
Yeah.
If we, to redo those minutes,
Oh, no, it's a PDF, you extract the bad, you put in the good. you call it.
right, but, what I'm thinking is, because why don't we, when we put the packet together for the planning board, why don't we include the April 24th summary report, as well as a new summary report that I'll do. The Excel will be the same Excel, it'll just have a second set of columns in it rather than just the first one. And I can create it in such a way that it's ready to be posted as a PDF.
So they-
And so that we'll
Yeah,
just kind
I
of
think that's
post it
what it
again
is.
rather than trying to go back and.
Well, so this is, I like that approach, but this is my concern is when people go and look for agendas and then they match them up with minutes and they get, they wanna see what, and that's where they
Oh,
will go to
okay.
see. And then they are left with nothing. They can't see the report. And it is pretty easy. Like I can extract the PDF off of the website now. Take out the bad and put in the good. And then send it back to the clerk's office and ask them to fix it.
Repost.
Because it's actually, it's just not correct. And so it's not an accurate set of minutes.
Oh, okay, so you want, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
They're making it accurate for some.
So you've
Yeah.
got, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm happy to.
So that it does,
Do that.
okay,
because-
it makes sense to do that.
And,
then.
and because if anyone watched that planning board meeting, which I did, and I went back and I was like, well, let's poke around, and then that's how I discovered it, and say there's two other people like me.
There's no one like you.
Of course there is.
So-
Like, it's just, I wanna know, like, those types of people, so that's what I would like, it's a missed opportunity for us to have that information represented out there.
So the
So
other
let's
one
do
we
that.
should probably do then, if we're gonna do that retrospectively or help the planning board retrospectively is, where did I find this? Cause I went through, so I knew what I was picking up on for the minutes and things, but I'll find it
Okay.
and let you know, but when the planning board approved the MPIC charge, it was not posted in the packet. So that is actually not,
The document that approved, the document that described
Charge
the charge,
committee.
so.
Originally?
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Does that match what's on the website though, the way it's written?
well, that's what I don't know, cause there's no document.
Well, that's
We should-
interesting, because I read the charge after that meeting, the October meeting, to see, because it doesn't say in there that we're supposed to do any kind of strategic planning or that kind of stuff. So I was wondering, like, what the planning board was asking. I was like, well, that's not even in our charge. So does I think Judith had asked that point earlier, do they want to change the charge of this committee?
And that charge was on our very first meeting with Lisa as chair, right? Is that,
No, but we simply took the charge.
you took the charge?
It was the planning board that,
So that's not, okay.
All
All right,
We
so
ought to take whatever's on the website, declare that the charge, put it in minutes.
Well,
Well,
there's
it
actually a
should
charge
be-
document that goes.
There's
in
a
the 50
charge
I think I
document,
have
as
the
a
charge
committee
document.
form That
Yeah.
is the town committee, the town clerk, and he manages that documentation, so he would have it. It has to exist.
Oh,
Right?
Whatever he has is the official.
Right, and if that's not consistent with our website, we should double
where
check.
did I put that?
yeah, I didn't realize this.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's two things. It's the April minutes and then also,
And then we know.
Oh,
that
okay, yeah, so it's the Monday, the 27th of June, planning board meeting. Was when there was a discussion, review the charge for the master plan implementation committee.
okay.
And the master plan, they expressed support for the committee charge, but it wasn't included as a document used, and it's not in the packet,
Well, I had to,
27 what year?
2022.
Two.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, as a board member, I don't often look out there, so I just assume that, everything's going out there. But that's a really good pickup, and we should make sure that that's properly documented.
So, and I guess the reason it's kind of apropos is, I think you had mentioned, Kat, when we were chatting about something else, but you'd mentioned that the charge needs to be updated to reflect. There were 2 or 3 things that you
Yeah,
mentioned.
so
I
that's,
can't remember what they
if
were.
we can talk about the.
Yeah, well, we want to go to the next one,
updates.
number 5.
Yeah, because that was specifically
Oh, okay.
related to the charge, it says an annual update report will be prepared for the planning board to share at town meeting. Oh, no, that's a written progress report.
The
biannual
quarterly.
Meetings, I think that's what, I had noted it in the email, what.
Yeah.
Just so it would line up, because the planning board has now changed their frequency, so we
That's
just
right.
want our charge to reflect the accurate reporting requirements, because if we're ever called on it,
Yeah.
some people are very detail oriented.
Yes,
They'll say, well, but your charge says this and you're only doing this, and if it's not officially documented, it just creates a confusion and an inconsistency.
right.
So Sam, I don't know if that type of.
Do we need to vote it? Do we need to update it and vote on it?
Board would need, because they.
The
write
The planning
charge,
board
right?
has
They would
to,
need
the planning board has
just
to
Okay.
re-vote on it,
change
yeah.
that,
Okay.
which is pretty.
There's actually a typo in the charge that talks about biannual report should be semi-annual.
Should be semi,
That's English.
semi,
Biannual is twice a year.
Biannual is every 2 years. Semi-annual
semi-annual.
every 6 months.
Oh,
So,
really? Oh, my God, I think the master plan document is wrong in several places then.
so, is there any desire to look at the charge again, or just fix the typo?
I only fix the typo
So you're saying biannual.
Fix the typo?
is Twice every 2 years?
every 2 years, yeah.
It's, so I've looked it up, it's occurring twice a year, so it may be that word.
Semi-annual is
Oh,
twice,
wait a minute.
is every 6 months.
I think it's used
Oh,
incorrectly
So it's.
to mean the
there's
same.
two Words, biannual and by any, by
Biennial.
BIE and
Yeah,
NIE. That's every
biannual.
other.
I'm pretty sure biannual is every 2 years. Semi-annually is every 6 months or twice.
Our vernacular is changed.
Biannual occurring twice a year. The biannual meeting of the planning committee.
I think it's changed. I think that has been used inconsistently or
what does it
incorrectly
mean?
over the years, and now it has become a different meaning.
Well,
Semi-annual twice a year.
I'm on
This
mute.
is the masterclass.com.
Yeah.
Is biannual every 2 years or twice a year? Biannual means occurring twice in 1 year. Biennial means happening once every 2 years.
But to your point, Sam, I do like semi-annual
Okay.
better. I think semi-annual is. Yeah.
Semi-annual,
Semi-annual
Better.
probably makes a better
Yeah,
word.
I do appreciate.
more common use of that.
Yeah,
Okay, so we need to update that typo, fix the typo on the charge and bring it back to the planning board to
but
agree.
those are the other things that, Kat, you had some other things that you wanted to,
Yes, so I pull up the email and so you know, it's been a while.
Do you want to show your screen or no, or just speak to it?
I guess if-
How do I do that? Do I give you some,
yeah, you
take
need
over?
to- I think if you right click on my name
right click? And.
Yep, and make a co-host.
Make a co-host? You can be the host, okay. And make co-host,
Maybe another way.
okay. Kat is now the co-host.
Yeah, you've seen this.
There we go.
Yes, and
Okay.
thank you for doing this.
Yeah, no.
Did you
no.
just do it or were you assigned? I didn't even realize.
No, I looked at I looked at the October meeting and I wanted to get some clarity because I
Yeah.
thought it'd be really helpful.
Yeah.
For everyone,
And you didn't
because
find it.
It was apparent that people weren't, there's some, we're not all on the same. page.
That
So
is
this-
true.
This
Mhm.
would maybe help us, just because I thought it's a communication thing and it's a, you know, making sure the files are accessible to people. So, the extract here is what's on the website now.
So this is our MPIC page.
Uh-huh. Just. well,
The
it's
wording.
word,
Yep.
but Under the overview. So what did I say? So based on the planning board's request to meet twice a year, I'm recommending the following changes be made. This change is not what's highlighted in yellow is recommended changes. Okay, so what's in yellow is the what I'd like to change, and then I've suggested the change, which is for discussion. So it says number 3 will be planning, the reports would be submitted each quarter. So I'm suggesting the change, go back to the planning board for vote to be, we will be submitted to the planning board twice a year. Does that make sense? Because that's. what
Yeah.
that's-
Yeah.
Yep.
And then. Yeah, then I just I just made a point on number 4, an annual update will be prepared for the town meeting, and that's where I noted it might just be that update be the December report rather than create a new report.
Yes. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
The December, so we're gonna stick with December and April? Yeah.
That makes,
I think that works for us, yeah.
and then my only other suggestion was in number 6. It was just a word. It currently reads the MPIC shall continue until the planning board votes to dissolve, and you could just add the committee, or you don't have to.
Oh, it just ends?
It
Okay.
just ends after the word dissolve, so I was like,
Well,
you could just.
written, that means the planning board goes to the law itself.
So it was
There are those who might actually vote for that.
very minor changes, but I think I'm more concerned with the consistency for the reporting so that people know. And then I go in to describe the minutes and, what needed to change. Because it looked like, so sometimes in
Uh.
Excel, it's hard to do a print view unless you have it pre-set up.
Right,
So. we
you have to
could
do the
get- we
print
could,
area.
like Judith said, get the template set up so that whenever it's submitted, it's just already there, so folks don't have to worry about it.
Okay,
But if you look at it, it made the minutes look, there was a ton of blank pages.
Oh, no,
Like, the minute package went up to 130 pages. So. As a
Didn't even
result,
know
all the
that.
blank pages got in.
wow, okay.
Yeah, that's all.
So, thank you for doing that, Kat. Okay, so. Shall I bring these to, well, so for the charge, any change to the charge, should go to the planning board. Right, except for they've already agreed to that change, so we're really just,
They still have to vote on
they
it.
still need to vote on it, right?
But we do probably want to make sure the charge matches what's on the website. I'm
Yes.
assuming it does, but like Judith said, it's not in the minutes to compare it, so that comparison would be really important to do first.
Yes,
So that you're like asking for everything that you need, like,
yes.
so they're gonna.
Yeah. And I'm at the planning board, planning office a lot, so I wouldn't mind working with Colleen on these changes would you like to do it or would you like me to do it?
For the minutes, you mean?
For both, actually. I mean, for the web page updates, I'd be happy to work with Colleen. I think I mentioned to her that we'd have something coming along. And so I think I gave her a heads up already, so I'd be happy to circle back and have these changes.
And I'm
updated.
wondering if, so I think you may need, before you can change the web page, if it is the charge. you'll
Yeah.
need Planning board to say yes first,
Yes,
and then Colleen. do
yes,
the changes. I'm happy to take the minutes and make sure, the report that you were referring to, you said that didn't make it the April 24th summary report. Right, there was a report page that didn't get into the minutes. I think?
Yeah, there was a word
A Word
in the
document.
progress report thing, there's the
Yes.
Word document. I don't think that got in at all.
Okay,
I think the Excel was uploaded
yeah,
twice.
and you sent me that document. So what I can do, which would be probably.
that would be
helpful,
really nice.
Is
Yep,
just take the minute packet,
yep,
take out what I think is wrong. put
Yep.
in what should be, and then present it to, I can send it. Is Colleen the right person to start with?
yes, I can give her a heads up so she knows what this is all about, but yeah,
Then she may be the right person to go to Jim Pecker.
that would be good.
Right.
That would be good, and I can walk her through, yes,
I
that-
think you can just go to Kate Battle.
Okay,
Kate.
great.
does all
Okay.
of that stuff for Jen.
and then there was the June 27th, which was the actual charge, the initial charge
2022.
of 2022,
2022.
where the charge document was not included in the packet, it seems. Can I ask one of you guys to do that? I mean, I think I have the original charge document.
You do?
I'm pretty sure I have it.
We never got it.
Really?
Wait a minute.
Or maybe I don't.
I could ask Mr. Haggard before
Yes,
he's the holder of all charges. Well, actually,
okay, I
is
just,
that the case if it's a planning board? He still would hold the charge,
Who
right?
would?
The clerk's office would still hold the charge.
Oh, yeah.
even if the planning board was the.
It's just that we're a subcommittee.
So
of the
planning board
planning
probably
board.
has it, yeah. I mean, I can ask if they have it, but Jim, I guess if Jim keeps them, I didn't even know town clerk keeps them. Makes sense.
Yeah, because when I first joined the committee for trails, I was like, oh, can you send me the charge just so I can have that?
Good. That's great. So I'll sniff around. I'll be down, I'll be in planning department next week. And I can ask about the charge or just stop down, and see town clerk and see if they've got the charge. Or be, if not, before.
Yeah, and I'll do the minutes and send them to. Colleen.
Send them to Colleen and copy me, maybe, and then if she has any questions, like, she'll ping me. That's perfect. Thank you, guys. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I've actually got the charge.
Oh, yeah, I thought Lisa
got
had
it from-
sent it, or did you,
No, I got it from Kate, back
oh,
because I
wow.
wanted to include it on the website.
Oh. Great.
Yeah, it was approved June 27th. So do you want me to send this to you? Debbie?
Yeah, can you send it to me
Yeah,
and,
I'll
and
just-
Kat too? Okay, so that'll be helpful, so we'll get to the bottom of that. Perfect. And then, maybe in the future, master plan, planning board, I mean, because Colleen does put, I think newsflash or something she's got up on ours, I don't know if they'd be interested to socialize anything that's going on with master plan, but because things are gonna get really busy with all the stuff going through planning this year, with MBTA communities mainly.
You mean through the newsflash?
Yeah, newsflash, maybe there's an
Yeah.
opportunity to put for our few fans that go on the website. I don't know, for planning. Okay. All right, should we move to the next item?
Item 2. Let's keep going.
So, did everybody get a chance to take a look at the minutes from October 26th?
Yeah, look good to me.
Look good to me. Did anybody?
Semi-annual sort of thing.
Oh, tush,
Not a big
tush.
deal.
Are we, any comments, or shall we vote on the minutes?
Vote away.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve, and master plan implementation minutes from October 26th, 2023?
So moved.
A second.
Okay, Will seconds. All in favor, Demiria, aye?
Stivers, aye.
Watson, I.
Nikki, I.
Warren, I.
Approved, thank you.
Unanimous.
All right, scheduling the next meetings, December meeting and beyond. Do we like this time slot? Thursday at 7?
Yes.
Seems to work pretty well.
Okay, and we're gonna continue, like now, I think we've got this between in-person and opportunity to dial in if you prefer.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think that's great too. So what's our frequency in the new year? You want to stick with once a month?
I'm gonna struggle with once a month, I'll be honest.
Okay, too frequent?
Too frequent.
when are you available? Did you travel, your global travel schedule?
Take us with you.
Oh, yeah.
Technology allows us to meet anytime, anywhere.
Well, to be honest, if we stick with this once a month, our next meeting date would be the 28th of December, which is right, going into the new year. So we could say we'll skip that and do a January meeting,
But if we have to,
or
but
is,
if we have to put some, if we have to look at the report to the planning board, we should.
we should meet to look at it first then, right?
Yeah. I
Okay,
mean, the 28th works for me.
Of December,
28th is fine.
that's when I check out of the work. It's like the only week that I can shut down. No. All right.
This is fun though, Kat, work, this isn't fun.
well, I mean, we could meet in the new year if we're gonna deliver it in January, but
Okay, that's actually not a bad idea.
are you around on the 28th, Judith?
I'm around, yeah. I'm here all that way.
Are you traveling or you
I
check,
am,
you
but-
check it?
Cat's not available.
I can just, I'll do the 28th.
We could
I'll
bump
do
it-
the 28th.
we bump it to the 4th, if that-
Yeah, we can move it to the fourth.
Okay.
We'll be all, you know,
the 4th.
revitalized.
Cat, what's
Yeah,
next for
I
you?
could do the 4th. And yeah, I think that gives us plenty of time to. Oh, wait. Yes, but the annual report, like if we were gonna put a paragraph into
Yeah.
the
town
town
report.
meeting,
We can
but can we
deputize,
delegate
yeah,
that
deputize
to-
Debbie to do that.
Yeah, I think we
I-
can try and separate that out
Yeah.
now.
Okay,
And in fact, Debbie could work with one other person,
Okay, yeah,
not co one.
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
When is that thing due? So that is for the warrant, for the,
Town annual report. booklet.
the booklet.
So the first trick is find out when's the deadline.
I asked Melanie, so once she responds to me
Okay.
tomorrow, I
And
can
then
share that.
second, to coordinate with the planning. board To figure out, do we do it as part of the planning board report?
Yeah.
Or do we do it separately?
Right.
And then to write a paragraph. And so,
Okay, do I have any volunteers to work with me on that? I'll find out this information about when it's due and, you know, can take a first crack at it.
I'd be willing to help. I'm probably not the best one necessarily, but many people press for time.
You focus on your progress reports. I'll work with you on it. I think.
Okay,
If
thank
you
you.
want to
Ju-
draft something or just
And
some
then-
bullets, I can work with you on it.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Julie.
So last year,
Yes,
I submitted the annual report for trails
yeah,
on January 9th, which might be a little late, but they accepted it.
Oh, but still, we ought to gear up and do it quickly, I think. So,
So are we still meeting on the 4th then?
I
uh,
think so. We should probably.
fourth is okay for you, Will? Okay, how's fourth for you, Kat?
It works.
Works for, okay, yeah. All right, that's pretty easy. Should we, do you want to pick the date for for February then? Okay, so no meeting in,
Well, maybe we don't need a meet, so
Yeah.
to Judith's point, once we get through this next, like, we get the report out to the planning board, which is our next big deliverable.
Yep.
Then we don't necessarily need to meet in February,
Yeah,
but we
Let's
all
deal with
Right.
need to do our check-ins. and
Yes.
Have and come back and report in March.
Yeah.
Right? In
Yes.
prep for our April meeting.
let's
For
let's
you.
deal with it later in January.
So on the
Okay.
January agenda, we'll set up the
Meeting
kind of
for
the
the-
frequency.
Yeah.
piece.
Frequency, I think that's
That's a
good,
good
yeah.
point, yeah.
okay. That sounds good. So January fourth, we'll do another hybrid meeting and at 7 PM.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Any other business? How about everybody think about ways to socialize master plan goals
And progress.
and progress in the new year? Utilizing reports and websites and
Mailing.
mailers.
What I'd like to be able to say is that we did a mailing to every resident in Southborough to help inform them. You know, even if it's not fully successful, but that's a big attempt, like, that's a big effort, I think.
And we need a budget to do that. The planning board has a budget. So if they can squeeze $1,000
Yeah,
out of everything.
It's not gonna be an ongoing ask,
Yeah.
it's a one-time ask, and it's for a good cause, and I would hope that we can make a good case for why that's important.
Yes,
I think they're working on budget right now.
but the planning board, again, the planning board has FY 24 money.
Yeah.
Now. And
Okay,
and they're spending money on this MBTA community stuff, with communication, so I need to piggyback on some of that.
yeah. Okay, good. Anything else?
Public comment.
No
You
attendees.
have no public, you managed to avoid the public vote.
Yeah.
I think it's,
So have we adjourned?
Not yet. Will, do you have any other business or shall we adjourn?
Adjourn.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Second by Mr. Stivers, all in favor, Jamiria, I.
Watson, I.
McKee, I.
Warren, I.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
you guys, stay warm. Winter is